Attaboy, Mark. Shazi, Logan, how are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for
Good.
coming. I appreciate it.
Absolutely no problem at all.
How was last night? Did you get sleep? Was the rain, the hurricane keeping you up?
No, geez, it
You're
wasn't that
good?
bad at all. I don't think. We're right down on the water, and it wasn't. The worst part about it was our dog wasn't sleeping. That was it.
I was going to say you're on the water. That makes it, you think it would be worse on the
It
water.
wasn't bad. Honest to God, it wasn't bad at all.
You're on like a lake?
No, just we're at King's Wharf right now.
Oh,
just
okay,
renting,
yeah.
That's not bad.
You got a newborn baby? You're a
Yeah,
new father?
Yeah, first, trying to learn how to be a dad. He's awesome. He's 5 months, 5.5 months.
Hey, congratulations, man. That's
thanks.
awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's changed life a little bit, but it's obviously for the better. It's awesome. It's unreal.
What's it going to be? A centerman, a winger, defenseman? Don't say goalie.
It's up to him, obviously,
all
but
right.
I think right now a right shot defenseman is where you want to be.
Right shot
I
defenseman.
think that's where you want to be. Yeah.
Good stuff. Wait,
Yeah.
man, congrats. That's awesome. You got a
Thank you.
It seems like you got a busy life. You just got back from the bubble. Your hockey career is, when you look at your hockey DB, you've had a pretty successful junior career, and then you moved on to the NHL level and the pro level, and you've made a name for yourself, and now you're with the Winnipeg organization. And before that, playing on teams like the Montreal Canadiens. Like, come on, you gotta.
Yeah. It was,
Sometimes you gotta pinch yourself a little bit here.
I've played for a lot of teams, in a lot of different leagues and levels, and I was having a conversation the other day. I think since next year will be my 8th year pro, whenever next year is, I guess will be my 8th year pro, and I think I've had like 13, 14 maybe head coaches. It's just been I've been on a lot of teams, but it's nice. Every step of the way has been a part of the story, and I have no complaints so far. As I'd say, everything's been awesome.
I remember this is what I think this was your first year in Florida. I was at a bar in Halifax and you were there, and I didn't even realize, but you were sitting next to me. I don't know if you remember this. And I was like, Logan, how you doing? I'm Justin. I know you play for Florida. And I had a couple beers in me, so I was feeling confident. And I was like, I could pick your brain for like hours about what you do up in the NHL. And I think you said to me, man, go for it. Ask me anything you want. And I asked you questions about like the media, the food, the travel, living in Florida. And I think we were there for like 30 minutes having a conversation, and you answered every question. And I remember leaving that conversation, and I think maybe a little plant was put in my head going, maybe I could do this for a living. Maybe. I had a great time talking to Logan, and I don't know, I woke up the next day, I was a little hungover, but I remember that conversation, and coming back full circle to this podcast now, it's kind of funny how that all came about. So I guess I just wanted to thank you for way back then at the bar.
That's pretty cool. For some reason, I think I do recall it.
So the Keats bar up above.
I was going to say, Wayne, I think it was Badecki had the event going on, and I do remember it. Yeah, it's kind of small world there, but I have time. I have time for everybody. Honest to God, it's cool. Not many people get to be in the position that some of us are in, and I think people want to know. People want to know what it's like, what the lifestyle's like, what everything, like the questions you just asked, just off the top of your head right there, what it's like. And I think it's a different lifestyle. It's obviously we love it. It's fun, but it's hard. It's hard on your family. It's hard on yourself sometimes when things aren't going the right way. But there's a lot of behind the scene things that some people don't understand, but it's I'm always willing to to talk about it and to give people the insight.
Well, let's get away from the NHL and pro hockey right now. Let's start all the way back to junior in Cape Breton. You were drafted by Cape Breton, correct?
Yep.
So talk about that feeling growing up in that part of the world and being drafted by that team. When you were a kid, did you go to the games? Were you a fan of the Eagles growing up?
Yeah, that's what we had to watch. Our family never had season tickets, but a good friend of mine, him and his family always did, and it was always we always went to the games with. I went to the games with him and my friend Breton, his dad was usually where we went to the games with. And, we were always busy out playing hockey anyway. Like that's who we were. We were those guys. We were like when World Juniors came on, we were those guys in the backyard, on the pond, and we were the Eagles. That's who we were. It was the Eagles versus Mooseheads for us, and in the driveway. And I think it kind of started there, and that's kind of where you fall in love with your favorite players and guys you cheered on for. And I was obviously fortunate enough to be drafted by the Eagles, being from Cape Breton.
Yeah.
The draft was in Cape Breton actually when it happened, so that was kind of neat. But for me, I was 15 at the time, and Steve Dixon, Culligan and Shepard. Dean Willett. It's who it was. Dean Willett, Culligan, and Shepard up on stage to pass me my jersey when I was drafted. So for me, like now, like they're all good friends of mine, and it's kind of cool. But back then, that was it. That was awesome, right? Just for them to pass me that jersey, it was at that point, it was the best moment of my career in hockey, and I still remember it. There's pictures of it. We still laugh about it. I had the braces and everything. We still laugh about it with those guys, but. That's just kind of where it all started. And obviously I was fortunate enough to play a couple of years in Cape Breton. I lived with my parents until I graduated high school, and then I got traded. But it was a pretty ideal situation to get to go to high school with my buddies, and I didn't have to move away from home until I was 19.
Oh, so lucky.
Yeah.
Did you go to the Quebec PB tournament by any chance? Were you?
I didn't know. We North Sydney actually went the year that.
No.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind that? Did you guys want to go? Like, what happened there?
I'm not sure how they picked it. I mean, personally, I think we had a better team than they did. But
you still hold grudges.
Yeah. No, it was. It would have been cool to do. I went and watched it when I played for the Ramparts, and it was so cool. Yeah, it was so cool. Just the rink was like 10,000 people in the rink to watch these PB kids play, and obviously that's why it gets talked about so much. It's just such a cool. They do such a great job putting that tournament on.
And back when you were in Quebec, you guys were in the Pepsi Colisée. Yeah.
I didn't even get to see the new rink yet. So I think the year after I left was their last year in the Coliseum when they hosted the Mem Cup. I'm pretty sure they hosted it at the Coliseum. I'm not positive. But
was Patty Waugh your coach?
He was. Yeah, I had him for 2 years.
What's he like as a coach?
He was awesome. I loved him. I think on the younger guys, as most coaches are, that they're harder on the younger guys coming in, trying to kind of show them the way. But for myself, it was I loved it. I don't think I'd be the professional player that I am if it wasn't for him. He kind of diversified my game a little bit. I never played center until obviously you do in minor hockey, you play all the positions, but until when junior, I didn't play center until I went with him, and he kind of gave me the role of, if you want to be a better player, you have to be able to play all positions, and that's what I did. I played left wing with Grigorenko, and then I ended up playing center with that line as well. So I kind of learned how to to figure out my game, and that's kind of where it started for me, as to figure out what I have to do to get to where I want to be. And it's kind of not necessarily going to be 30 goal scorer in the NHL playing right wing. It's whatever that coach asks you to do, go do it. And figure out a way to stay in the lineup. And that's so far what I've been able to do. It's
an interesting how he was a goaltender turned into a coach.
I
guess you see he's almost like a catcher in baseball. He sees the game so well. Yeah. He's all the way back there, and he sees how things laid out.
Right, you see everything happen in front of you. Right, I don't know. I mean, this could be rumors or whatever, but I don't know many goalies that like playing for a coach like that, just for the fact that it's kind of he was the best goal. One of the best goaltenders of all time, and try to. When I had him in Quebec with the goalies that we had good goalies. We had like Louis Domingue and Francis Broussard, but it's tougher for him to try to coach that. You know what I mean? Like he's like the best goalie of his era or whatever, and then these younger goalies are coming up, and they want to learn from him, but it's harder for him to try to teach that. I guess he kind of stayed away from the goalies,
just like Gretzky coaching Arizona.
Correct.
Same thing. Correct. Can't coach the forwards.
Right. It's tougher to do. Right. Yeah. And I think he did a great job with that organization. From a part owner or whatever, and coaching. I thought the way he handled his players in that.
Environment.
Exactly. The environment's a good word for it. Just with, we average like 12,000 fans a game. It's a huge city. It's it's a big organization for a junior team, right? And
Gentile came on and said all that stuff.
Right. And it was they have so many behind the scenes things going on there that other organizations don't need, right? Because just like they're small market teams, and whereas they're in a NHL city, right? Like they're in a city that could very easily have an NHL team, and I think he did very well handling himself and his players.
Yeah. I liked when Gentile came on and he was talking about some of the behind-the-scenes aspect of it's not even anything like a junior team, because he played for Cape Breton and he also played for Quebec, and it was just two different worlds, media side, fan side, public side.
Yep.
It just, you almost feel like you're a pro, and he said he went in there at 16, and it was just a different ball game.
Yeah,
just everything, professionalism.
They treat it like an NHL team. They do, they're giving you lunch every day after practice in the rink. all of our school for the English guys was at the rink. So you got to the rink in the morning, you practiced, you ate lunch, you did your school, and then you head home. But it's just everything about it. They have like their own drivers to drive kids to school and everything because it's a bigger city. You can't just get a buddy to come pick you up when they're living half hour across the city with traffic and everything. So it's a different approach to the organization for sure.
I wanted to talk about your dad for a bit. I know he's
Yeah.
involved with the Cape Breton organization. What's his role there?
Yeah, he's the president right now.
He's the president right
Yeah.
now of Cape Breton. So
Yeah.
I guess what leadership or how did he guide you into the hockey career that you have now? What, I guess, aspect did he help you in?
Everything.
Okay.
Honestly, so if I didn't have him, I wouldn't be where I am. I had him as a coach from day one. He's the one that kind of taught me everything. He coached me my whole way up. I think there was only maybe 2 years in my minor hockey career, once in Pee Wee, once in Bantam maybe that he didn't coach me, or maybe once in Adam, once in Pee Wee. I think is what it was. They didn't have him as a coach. So every other year I did until I played tradesman in the midget. That he wasn't no longer there. But he worked with the government, but he also pursued his. He did some scouting stuff. He worked with Lewiston, Moncton, Cape Breton, and then he took over as president 2 years ago. And the Eagles are on the right track. Right now they're in. It's tough right now with everything that's going on with COVID, but a lot of organizations are gonna. They're going to struggle to survive right now with like the no fans, and that's what they need. They need fans in order to survive, right? Yeah. They don't have these big sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. But he's putting in his work. It's a lot of work, but obviously I wouldn't be where I am without him today in hockey. He's a dad that's not do this, do that, do this. It's kind of you learn for yourself. You live and learn, but he's always there to guide you in the right direction.
Did it come naturally to you, hockey? I don't know you as like a Pee Wee player, Adam player. I know some players are late bloomers. Were you always that guy in Cape Breton, or did it come a little bit later for you?
We always had good teams in minor hockey. Like it was tough for us to compete with the mainland, and it was like every second year, Adam, Pee Wee, Bantam, we went to provincials. Just once we come up here, we just couldn't compete, right? We always did our best, but there was always some good players coming up. I always got to play. I was fortunate enough to play with good players in minor hockey. We had Mitch O'Neill, Brad Cuzner, Brett McKay. It was always good players, and we always had fun. We were never concerned of, like, our thoughts were never to go to play junior, to go play pro. It was always just. I honest to God, I don't think I even thought about playing in the Quebec League until my first year midget.
No way.
Like it was, it was. Well, we just never, we weren't really that exposed to it, right? I mean, I know we had the Eagles there, but it was in Bantam. It was just go play hockey, right? And it was still the same thing. We nowadays, I mean, obviously, kids are way ahead of where we were. We went to the gym and just kind of did your own thing. Like you just walked around the gym, lift a couple weights every now and then, but we just had fun. Honestly, it was. That's what I remember from it. We had fun playing hockey, and I mean, obviously, I still do. But like back then, I can tell you everyone that was on every team I had in minor hockey. Like I remember everybody, just how close we were, and obviously, so again, my father started a power skating school when I was in Adam or Pee Wee, and he just gave it up last year, I think but he just kind of did it to keep us. To try to learn, to try to keep getting better, and it wasn't on the path of, hey, you do this and you'll go to the NHL kind of thing. It was just, here, I think you can be a better hockey player if you do this, and then see what happens. And every step of the way, it's everything's been a learning process, and everything's kind of guided you in the right direction.
So as opportunities came towards you with junior and the draft with Cape Breton and things like that, did you start to were you on the Q website doing a little bit of research? Like, oh, there's teams up in Baie-Comeau, there's teams up in Rimouski, there's teams all the way up here. Did you start to kind of look at the league and look at the options and things like that? Or was it, like I said, or like you just said, you just kind of let it come to you and whatever happened type thing?
No, so once I started my first year in midget, with the tradesmen, we had the tradesmen always kind of struggled a little bit. And then my first year, we ended up recruiting some older guys like Badecki came in, Popovich,
You're on
Steve
Badecki's
Popovich,
team? Oh, yeah.
in midget. Yeah, so we had a good tradesman. We ended up winning like the first round of playoffs, which is the first time the tradesman done it in years. And then we ended up losing to Cole Harbour in Game 7, and they ended up going on to sweep Subways to go to the Atlantics or whatever. But it was that year there, kind of. I had a good year there, and kind of midway through that year, I started looking at prep schools.
Oh yeah.
And we were looking in the States and in Ontario, and me and another friend of mine, we kind of at the end of the year we went and took some tours of the prep schools, and we probably visited about, half a dozen or whatever. And my mother and I, we did all the applications. We did all this, like we were trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it's tough to make that decision when you're 14 and 15 years old, or what you want to do for for high school. And anyway, it came down to it that I wanted to try to enter the draft. I was talking to a couple teams, and I wanted to try to enter the Q draft. And the big thing that my parents always said is that no matter what, you have to do your school. Like, you have to finish your school. Even to this day, like, I'm still chipping away at university courses online. It's just
good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah, it's you feel good when you finish a course. It kind of sucks when you're doing it, obviously, but it's tough online. But again, it's a promise I always made to my parents, is that I'd always try to get my degree. And obviously, I would never change anything that I did in my hockey path, but I chose to. So actually, sorry, I want to go back there. I went to I think it was called the CSR. That was like a weekend in Montreal, and so my parents dropped me off at a gas station in just outside Truro, or just outside New Brunswick, and the bus picked you up and you're on your way. Like, that was kind of my first time away from my family, like on a bus. And it was after that week. There was no cell phones at that point, right? It was just like my mom's flip phone she gave me for the weekend, kind of thing.
Like, pay as you go phone.
Right. So it was kind of my first experience away, like on the road.
Yeah.
At 15, and it was then that Dad was kind of like, can you do this? Like, is this what you want to do? You want to ride the bus? Can you do your school on the bus? Is this, are you interested in doing that? Like, he said, you might end up somewhere where you don't want to be. You might end up somewhere, I was 15. I didn't turn 16 until like the Q started. So,
wow.
He's like, so you're 15, you might be living up, in North Quebec, with nothing wrong with it, but it's tougher at 15 than living in Cape Breton. And I felt confident in myself, like, yeah, I'd want to do it. I'd be able to do it. And that's why I was so fortunate to be drafted by Cape Breton, is just, I still got to stay home and develop and, mature as, in my parents' household. So it was nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a wicked story.
Yeah, it's cool.
When you played in Quebec and you said that there's a pro atmosphere, do you think that helped you at all in the pro state, going drafted by Florida right after? Because I think, where'd you play right after? San Antonio in your first year pro?
Yeah, I was San Antonio and Cincinnati in the coast. I was up and down there for a bit.
So do you think Quebec maybe like prepped you a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In the Cape Breton, we had like a team. I'd say the teams are split. Like, we practiced. We went to school every morning in Cape Breton, and then practiced in the afternoon, 2:30, whatever, which is kind of probably, I would say, more normal now. But a lot of teams are kind of switching to the morning practice. But you're missing more school that way. But in that sense, yeah, we practiced every morning at 9:00 with Quebec, and you had to be there to run the stairs every morning before practice. Like, it was a lot.
You had to run the stairs?
Every day, yeah. Every day. It wasn't a game.
In the Coliseum?
Oh, yeah. You're going up and down every day.
Oh, Patty,
yeah.
Wow, what are you doing to the boys?
But we were in good shape. Like, we were in good. Some days were tough. Like, you're showing up in a snowstorm and you have to go, you're freezing. You just want to kind of have a coffee and sit there and do nothing, right? But
at least you get to run inside. I've heard stories of the coaches making the boys run outside up in Quebec.
I believe it. But in that sense of things, whereas pro, you go to the rink in the morning, you're working out, then you're practicing, and then the rest of the day is yours. But in that side of things, for sure. And as I said before, kind of diversifying my game to be more than just a right winger. Trying to learn how to play the left side and center, and I'd say Quebec definitely helped me with that side of it.
When you turned to the pro side of the game and you said that you learned how to play winger, left wing, center, all the positions, did you find that kind of helped you in the pro side of things, due to the fact that, apparently when you turn pro, you're not going to be that guy right away. You have to fit in. You have to make yourself, you have to make a role, and you have to be noticed. I think a great example this year was, Highmore. He kind of made a name for himself in Chicago. He kind of went in and he just did a great playoffs. He had a great name. Yep. They were mentioning him all the time. So when you turn pro, automatically, are you thinking, okay, do I fit in here, or I have to fit in here? I have to find a place to fit in.
First of all, yeah, Highmore had a great playoffs. He found his role, I think, is the best way to put it. And I think that's where I'm going with this, is that you do have to earn your spot. You have to, you're not just given a spot on a team at any league, right? Like, whether it's junior, the coast, the American League, the NHL. But you have to know what your role is. You have to find what you're good at, and make that that's your niche. Like, you have to. So for myself, I pride myself in knowing that I'm not going to score 50 goals in any league, and I know that. But I take pride in that. I'm going to do the best that I can at what I'm good at, and whether that's I get the puck in the D zone 10 times a game, eight of those times I'm getting that puck out every time.
Yeah. But that's like a little thing that you took pride in. Like,
Right.
that's what you mean
just
by
gotta
that?
get like if you have that puck on the hash marks 10 times a game, you get it out 5, you might not play next game, right? You're turning that over kind of thing. Like there's little things in the game, penalty killing. I love penalty killing. I think that's a big part of the game that sometimes gets overlooked, where guys take a lot of pride in doing it. Yeah, I think for myself, it's just knowing my role. And when I entered pro, I was I wouldn't say I was lost. When I got sent to the coast, obviously, pro hockey is pro hockey. You want to play in any league you can, but, I made the American League at first, then I got sent down, and it was heartbreaking for me. I was 21, and I was just like, this kind of sucks. I didn't know what to expect. I just thought, I thought I was going to be here no matter what. And then I got sent down. It was kind of a wake-up call, but if I didn't get sent down to the coast, I wouldn't be where I am now. I learned so much down there, with team bonding, with how to play with the puck. You only play 3 lines, so you're on the ice so much down there.
3 lines in the coast?
Yeah, they play 10 forwards.
No way,
that's
I
all
didn't
you
know
play.
that.
Yeah, so you're playing every second, third shift. As opposed to trying to figure out your way in the American League playing 5-6 minutes as a young guy, right, where the coach doesn't trust you. And it's about going down there and kind of earning trust, like earning confidence, getting confidence in yourself. And when I went back up after that, I got sent down at Christmas time, called back up a couple months later, and then sent down for playoffs in the coast. And we lost in the Kelly Cup finals to Alaska. Yeah, so it was the series was 3-3-1. So like that's how far away we were from Alaska. But that next year, after that season, I just kind of knew that I needed to figure out a way to stay in the American League. I obviously want to play in the NHL, but I need to figure out a way to not go to the coast. And that was just playing hard and it wasn't trying to score 50 goals. I had a point a game in junior the year before, but it wasn't about trying to do that. It was about finding a way to stay in the lineup. And for me, we had a coach named Tom Rowe. He was hard. He was old school, but he kind of, every morning skate was like one-on-one battles. It was kind of like what the heck's going on here kind of thing. Yeah. But again, it kind of put me into that work ethic side where it's just like, all right, this is what I have to do. And I think that year there, I kind of just took a step in the right direction. And then the next year I was fortunate enough to get my first call up, but it was just about, finding a way to stay in the lineup and, not, if something wasn't going right, it wasn't trying to, geez, I need to score tonight in order to, have a good game. It was just like, geez, I kill off these 3 penalties, then, I'll be in the lineup next game. He's not going to take that. It was just finding a different way. And I think today that's kind of a big reason as to why I've played so many games in the NHL, is just because I know my role and I understand what I have to do.
I feel like the guys that can figure out that problem the soonest will have a longer career in pro hockey in this side of the world. Because when I looked at you, like I remember you got like an overtime. I was playing against you in Cape Breton. You got an OT goal where it was the Battle of Nova Scotia game. You got the OT winner. It was right here.
Yeah, it was a hat trick. My only hat trick I had in the queue, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
And I was playing against you. That's kind of embarrassing that that's an honor for me, but that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I remember like sitting there, I was on the bench and you're getting the OT winner. I'm like, this prick gets the OT winner. He's a stud. He's in the queue. He's having a great career. And then it's interesting how you go from that guy and then you go to pro and you have to find your way. But I feel like most guys, or not most guys, just some guys, they struggle with finding who they are in the pro level. And if you're able to find yourself quicker, you're going to be able to find yourself a contract consistently and play at the pro level. So that says a lot about you as a person. I think it says a lot more about you as a person rather than a hockey player, because you have to put your ego in the back seat. You have to be able to put things on the back burner in order to get better at certain aspects, like you said. Get the puck out in the defensive zone 8 times out of 10. When if you did that in Cape Breton, you didn't do it in Cape Breton, it didn't matter. You're still on the first line. You're still getting OT winners in front of 10,000 people. Who gives a shit?
Right.
So, I think that says a lot about you.
I think the best way to put it is growing up, coming through junior, my first couple years pros, I could name hundreds of players that are better than myself, and still to this day there's still way better players. If I'm with an NHL team, there's way better players in the American League. I think the biggest thing, and that's what I was trying to say, like that I pride myself on, is I just understand what I have to do.
Yeah.
And I consider myself a good team guy. I'm fun to be in the dressing room with, and I try to lighten things up. But there's better players out there for sure that would score more goals, get more points. But sometimes I don't understand what else they have to do to to stay there. And I think that's just why. That's what I try to do myself, is just make sure that I'm trying to be a difference maker in different ways.
I love it. First game, Florida, NHL. big dogs.
Yep.
You're down there. I mean, you're up there, sir. You're
Yeah.
playing. Is there a story behind it? Tell me who you played, what rink you were in.
Yep. I could tell you. So I got. I was having a good. We were in Portland. So in the American League with Florida, we played in Springfield. San Antonio. We moved to Portland, then we moved to Springfield. So we had a couple different teams while I was there, and we were in Portland, and I was having a good start to the year. I actually really enjoyed my time there. It's a pretty cool city, Portland, Maine. But I ended up getting called up. It was just before Halloween, and obviously I was, it was like your heart just drops when you get the call from the coach, and it was a moment I'll never forget. I could tell you, I was driving home from practice, and he told me to turn around and go get my gear, and I was going to Florida. So anyway, I called my parents and my wife, but so first thing they did was obviously hop on a plane, and I kind of told them, I was like, I don't know if I'm playing. Obviously, you never know, right? But I said I'm getting called up. We're playing Boston this was on a Wednesday, I do believe. I think I practiced Thursday. We're playing Boston on Friday night, Washington on Saturday. Not sure if I'm playing, but
in Boston,
in Florida,
in
so
Florida,
I was at home. So my parents came down, my wife came down, a couple of my friends came down from here, and I got to play. My first game was against Boston, and
was Marshy playing?
Yeah, so that's kind of my story, is that I'm pretty good friends with Marshy. Like we just live down the street from each other.
Oh, dear.
But like so we do all our summer skates together. So my first game, I'm lined up against him, whatever. Like I was playing fourth line. I was lined up against him. He was just like, "Hey, Shazzy, congrats," kind of thing. I was all right, thanks. Like, appreciate it. Kind of ignoring, like not ignoring him, but like I'm really trying to, pay attention to what's going on. Anyway, he's, the way he is, right? He's like one of a kind. He's like the best human being, but just the way he plays. Anyway, he's just, picking on me like the whole game, picking on me, like going to the front of the net, gives me a little push, whatever. And I'm like, all right, I got to get out of here. And we're on a face off, and his stick rides up my stick. So I'm a righty. His stick comes up my stick and fractures my pinky. So my pinky right here is all like fractured. I can't feel my finger anymore. Obviously, I finished the game, whatever. After the game, I go in for an X-ray, and it's like shattered inside. So, next day comes, and the doctor, you have to get cleared in order to play, and he was like, "Think you'll be able to play tonight?" And I was just like, "Yeah, like I'll be fine," type thing. Couldn't hold my stick. Like I was trying to hold my stick out, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll be able to play." He's like, "Sure." So he signed off. I was good to play, and I go for warm up. Can't hold my stick really, but I'm cleared to play. And then don't play. They scratch me, and then they send me down the next day. So I was like, kind of like, yeah. So I get sent down. Played one game, got sent down. 2 or 3 weeks later, I got called up for the rest of the year. That was my first game experience, broken finger. But it was still, honestly, to be able to go through that with my family and friends that were down there was awesome. Like my friends now have been around, people that I play with and everything, and it's pretty cool to be a part of that with them. But that was the first experience that they had, being able to watch me play, obviously in the NHL. But it was Saturday night, would have been the Halloween after the Washington game, and they got to go out to the bars in Fort Lauderdale, and like the Ovechkin and those guys were there, so it was cool for them to kind of experience that too. It was that's just my first story. First NHL game was pretty awesome. Nonetheless, it was something I'll never ever forget.
Marshy, making stories.
Yeah,
that's so funny. It's funny he's your neighbor now too. That's hilarious. I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, and then it didn't take me long. I think it was my. When I came back up, I think it was like my 7th or 8th game, I got my first goal, which was
awesome.
Definitely something I'll never forget. That was
awesome.
I looked off Derek McKenzie in a 2-on-1.
You looked him.
And if I hadn't missed that net, I think I would have heard about it. But it was that's something I'll never forget either.
Was who's coach? Was Gallant coaching? Back then?
Yeah,
that's nice. I'm a maritime guy.
One of my favorite.
Yeah, I've heard good things about him.
He's one of the best people, I think, that you could ever have behind a bench, and I think that's why guys respect him so much and want to play for him. Just with the such a positive attitude, but he's just such a humble person that cares for every one of his players. I think a very good comparison is Rick Bowness now with Dallas. I think that he's the same kind of person. He cares about everybody in his locker room, and I think that's why, again, Dallas is playing the way they are. They're not doing anything fancy. They're just playing the right way. They're playing the way, the systems that they're supposed to play. And I think that's what everyone did with Gallant as well. It's just if you respect your coach, you're going to play for him. You want to win. You want to see everybody succeed. And I think, that's two good coaches right there.
Yeah. No, every time his name gets brought up, everyone mentions or just says good things about him.
Oh
Good
yeah,
person. Everyone
yeah,
loves him. Well, he's a Maritime boy, so
exactly, yeah,
everyone's gonna be respectful of the guy.
exactly.
I want to talk about the Montreal Canadiens, my favorite team growing up.
Okay,
Dad's favorite team growing up.
yeah.
Uh,
Mine was the Leafs, so when I yeah.
you get traded, you're like, no, I'm good. I don't want to come. Maybe
No,
next time.
no. So I was in Anaheim, and I got traded from Florida to Anaheim. Played the rest of that year. We had a good year, good playoff run. The next year, I was kind of again trying to find my way into the lineup. I was just in and out.
Yeah.
I thought I knew my role, and I was just trying to bear down and trying to figure it out again to stay. And I ended up getting placed on waivers and get picked up by Montreal. And obviously, it's nicer to come closer to home.
Do you speak French?
A little bit. I mean, I lived with a French billet in Quebec.
Yeah.
They were an awesome family, like unreal. I learned a lot from them. I know enough to get around in a French city for sure. But yeah, going to Montreal was obviously I was super pumped when I heard about it. Like I was always a Leafs fan growing up. You know, my old man was always a Leafs fan. But obviously, going to play in the Bell Center as your home rink, it's something that it's insane. And we didn't have a great team that year. We really didn't. We didn't win many games, but I will say we didn't lose many at home. We lost a lot on the road, but not many at home, which is good.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty easy for those fans to start booing you when you're at home and the power play's not going well or something. But
I heard they'll boo you like if you're at the mall or something. Like
oh, probably. Yeah. No one really know who I was at the mall, but it was the whole experience playing in Montreal was awesome. Like it was awesome. Yeah. Just to be a part of that organization, you know, Original Six, but just the history that they have themselves, like walking into the dressing room, they have all like the trophies and basically like the Wall of Fame that they have all their players and it was crazy. I think obviously it's one of the most prestigious organizations in the league. I hope they figure it out and try to find a way to start winning again. You know, like they had a good run this year, but they treat their players so well there. I mean, obviously, like every team does, but it's just I think it's just a little more, in that market, there's a little more. Obviously, there's more eyes on it, so they do things the right way, and I think, it was a cool experience. My first, it was Super Bowl weekend. I was playing for Anaheim.
Yeah.
And we were doing the Ontario swing. We were doing like the Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa for Super Bowl weekend when I was playing for Anaheim.
Okay.
And so I had 30 people from Cape Breton, like friends, family, like everyone's really close to me. They all booked to come up to Montreal. They were coming to watch Montreal play Anaheim. Then they were all going, how much of they're flying or taking the train to Toronto, watching their type thing. Then we're going to go, hang out after that. But so I got placed on waivers, got picked up by Montreal.
On that trip?
Out perfect. No, just before. So
just
so
before.
Like they had their flights booked and everything. But so it was kind of the thing where like I got put on waivers and everyone's like, oh, like what do we do? Like do we cancel our trip? Blah blah blah. And then I got picked up by Montreal. So it worked out perfect because our first game, my first goal I got as a Canadian was against Anaheim that weekend. So like I had my 30 family members and friends there. So there's so many memories that I think every step of the way of hockey so far. There's not many things that I'll forget. There's every day there's something new that's just something you could write a story about, and it's whether it's small or big, it means something to someone. And I think just a little thing like that, like a goal as a Montreal Canadian, is something that I'll never ever forget. Right? And that's pretty cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Never seen a game, but watching it on TV. As soon as the guys go out the tunnel and they have that sound that goes like, what's the sound when you're watching like an IMAX movie? And
I think it's like they have like the U2 song. I think.
Yeah,
U2.
Like, it's U2.
Yeah, and you run out to that, it's crazy. Yeah, and they have like the fire going on the ice or whatever. It's
I couldn't imagine like your first game. Every game you just must be pumping. You're just adrenaline is just going.
Yeah, and
going.
So every city, they have the best hot dogs too. At the rink.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hot dogs, yeah. I've been scratched a couple times there though.
Terry Ryan, right?
Yeah.
He had a funny story about when he played there. He brought up the hot dogs too.
Yeah.
And you're just like, hot dogs were so good. I was playing, but I was on like the fifth line. I was sitting on the bench all game, and the trainer went and snuck me like a hot dog, and I'm sitting there.
Yeah,
I was having a pop and a hot dog in the middle of the bench, just watching some hockey.
Yeah, I believe it, man. I'm telling
so
you,
good.
So at like every road, so if a road team comes in, every city you kind of get. There's always pizza in the dressing room after, kind of hold you over to get to the plane.
Yeah.
And then certain cities have certain things. Like you go to Philadelphia, you get the cheesesteaks.
Yeah.
You go to Vancouver, like there's pepperoni sticks kind of thing. In
Yeah.
Montreal, their thing is hot dogs. So like there's like a couple pizzas, but then all hot dogs after the game. So everyone's just wolfing down hot dogs. But that's what they're known for. They're unreal.
Everyone always stresses all the pros. They eat so good. It's just lettuce, it's spinach,
Yeah.
it's all the good stuff.
You
Nah,
treat
Montreal
yourself every
Canadians
now
are
and
just
then,
eating
though,
some
yeah.
hot dogs
Yeah,
on
you
the
treat
plane.
yourself,
I
though.
love it. How long do you guys have to get to the plane after a game? Like, let's say you're in Montreal, you're playing Arizona, but then you got to go to Tampa the next day or that after the game. Like, how long until your gear is off, until you have to be at the plane?
Yeah. Every city's. I mean, obviously you want to get out of there as quick as you can because especially if you're playing the next day. Usually it's like 45 minutes when the game ends. That's usually when like the bus leaves. They usually give you like 45 minutes to get out.
That's quick.
It's quick, but it's for your own sake. It's not, there's no rhyme or reason to, you can sit there for an hour and a half, but why, right? Like you're just going to go sit on the plane anyway. There's some cities that have curfews that you have to be out of there. Like in San Jose, you have to be out of there like at, say, 11 o'clock. If you're not on the plane by 11, the plane has to leave and go to Oakland. You have to meet the plane in Oakland kind of thing.
No way.
Just because it's over cities, right? So there's curfews. So there's different things like that. But for the most part, you just want to help out your trainers. The equipment guys, they're one of the toughest jobs in sports, I think, with the amount of stuff that they have to lug around. And obviously we're, very grateful for them to, they do everything for us, right? Like we don't have to touch your bag or anything. But, the quicker you can get your gear off, it's a lot easier for them to, get going and load the plane up.
I know I asked you this at the bar that first time I ever asked this, but how quick is the media in the room asking questions post game?
Yeah.
Because if you have to be out on the plane,
yeah,
you have
5 minutes. It's 5 minutes post game. They're in.
Oh, that's quick.
Yeah, they're in right away. That's sometimes that's why they get those little hot takes where guys are still heated. Kind of, I wouldn't say they're cursing at the media guys, but it's just they're still their adrenaline's still pumping. They're still kind of. I think that's kind of why the media are in there that quick kind of thing, right? To try to get that stuff out of players. But, sometimes it's tough to keep cool. But with COVID going on, there's no one in the dressing room, right? There's no one around. So it's just all via Zoom or Skype or whatever they do it. But guys have a little chance to cool down after like in that way. But you don't get as many, unless you're watching Tortorella, you don't get as many of those hot takes, I guess.
I know.
Yeah.
I love watching that guy. Everyone hates him. I love it, though.
Yeah, everyone looks in at it, though.
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
How's the bubble? You like it? Got mixed reviews from people.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what to expect going.
Yeah.
I think that the NHL did a great job. I was you're packing up, you're packing your suitcase hoping to go to October, right, to play to October. So you're moving in there. Yeah. I left Halifax July 2nd to go to Winnipeg. We had to do our quarantine.
July 2nd, yeah.
We had to do our quarantine, and then we had training camp, and then we went to Edmonton the 27th. But
of July.
Right,
yeah, okay,
right,
sorry,
and then we moved into the bubble July 27th. So for the first, the way they did it was the first 5 days you kind of weren't. So there's 12 teams. So there's 12 teams for the first 5 days. You weren't allowed to associate with other teams. Like they're around. You're walking. There's 2 hotels for the team. So there's 6 in one, 6 in another. You're walking to the rink with other teams and stuff. But you're not like me and you were friends. You're on, Calgary, whatever. We're not allowed to associate until after 5 days. They want everyone to just kind of stay away from each other.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Just for the bubble, like for COVID reasons.
Yeah.
And then once you get tested every single day.
Yeah, that's
for COVID. Yeah, it wasn't in Winnipeg. We did every second day for training camp, but it was one that goes all the way, right down, like.
That sucks.
Yeah, the one right out your arse.
You ever throw up? You ever gag or anything like that?
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. And then once you got to Edmonton, it was just like stick your tongue out, say ah, and they go down your throat. That one makes you gag. Especially if you had a couple beers or something the night before, you're definitely going to be pretty dry back there. And then the next day would be just a nose swab. A quick one, which wasn't bad. No, that one wasn't bad at all. So every second day they alternate between those two.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So after the first 5 days, you can kind of just roam around. Like you could go to the restaurants in the hotel. You could go out in they had like a courtyard outside the rink. It had like a Tim Hortons truck, a taco truck, a basketball nets.
All free, or do you got to pay for it?
The Tim Hortons was free actually. Everything else, you had to pay for it.
You got to pay for the tacos.
Yeah, you can get some ice caps or whatever. But I think they did a great job. I really do. I mean, it's tough for guys to leave their families for so long. Especially myself. I had a 3-month-old when I was leaving, so it was they changed so much every day at that age that it's tough to. But you have FaceTime and everything now, which is fine. But I think they did a great job. The bubble was you walked into the rink. The rink was an amazing setup. It's you don't like watching it on TV. Excuse me. I think you don't even notice. Really.
No.
They have the fan noise kind of put into the TV and everything, but you don't hear that there. The first 2 games we played against Vancouver, an exhibition game, and then Calgary game 1. I wasn't playing; I was scratched, so I was up in the press box watching, and it kind of sucked up there. Like it was so quiet. It's you don't hear the fan noise, so it's just a big hit. Like there's I remember Beaulieu rocked some guy in Vancouver an exhibition game, and that was it. Like there's no momentum swings. There's no a big fight after to kind of get the crowd back into it. It was just once the hit's done, it's done, right? That's the tough part. But for the next 3 games, games 2, 3, and 4, I got to play, and you don't even notice. Same.
What
as
do you mean you don't notice what?
Like the atmosphere. There's no crowd type of thing. Like once you're playing, you're playing. Right. It's the same as you're playing at the Scotiabank and someone's banging on the glass. You don't notice, right? Like sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But like when you're in a playoff game, you're there to win, right? So it doesn't really matter whether there's 5,000 people or none in the rink. It's you're there to do your job. And the hockey was great. The hockey's been awesome. I mean, I'm sure you guys have been watching it. I think the players and the league did a great job getting ready for it.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah. Like I said, well, that's what the question I had. I asked Highmore, I forget what he said, but like, what happens when you do score? Is there there's nothing? There's no cheer? Like
no, they have so every.
There's obviously a horn,
right?
But is there like a
your
fake...
own horn? I don't know if there's. I don't think there's a. I gotta.
Because on TV, obviously, it's like
I know
cheer.
What you're saying. Yeah, it seems like a big hit or a big save. They have like the noise on. No, but it's loud in there. Like the teams are loud, right? Which is kind of nice. You can hear everybody. Like you can hear the chatter on the ice, chatter on the bench. When you score, like the horn goes off. It's it's not obviously you don't have the crowd noise that's always awesome to hear, and especially with the anthems, you don't have like the crowd and the anthems too, which is always kind of gets you going. Gets your blood flow going. But no, I think when you score, it's just everyone has their own horns. Like they kind of brought their own horns. Like everyone has their own. Like so, when Winnipeg scored, they had the Winnipeg horn, and when Calgary scored, they had the Calgary horn. Like it was, which is different. I mean, they have to try to put as much as they can into it to make it their own, right? Yeah. But overall, I think they did a great job with it. Would have liked to stay a little longer, obviously, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you got to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, part of history, I guess, right?
Who do you have? You got Dallas or you got Tampa?
Oh man, I don't know. I like Tampa's such a powerhouse, but Dallas they just shut it down. Like
were they tough to play this year? Dallas, are they a good team on the ice?
Oh yeah. We had some good games with those guys this year. Like I remember they were up like every game we played against them. We were trying to catch them in the third period. I think. Like, it was always tight games, but they're just so good defensively. You know, and I'm happy for Khudobin, and he's doing awesome. Like that's so cool to see a backup goalie come in and do that. I think that's spectacular.
So many cool storylines right now in the playoffs.
Unreal. It's unreal. Yeah, it is crazy. It's super cool. Like even trying to think of the Conn Smythe. Like there's literally 5 or 6 guys in each team. Right? I know. It's cool.
How much time are we at?
OBS says 44:30.
44:30. Next year, any plans? What's the anything? I guess you can't even say.
Well, I don't.
No,
I mean, I don't right now. This will be my first year being unrestricted free agent.
Okay.
The free agency starts October 9th, I do believe.
Everything's so weird. The dates right now,
nobody. It's all thrown off.
It's
it's like it starts in July. Wait.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's just kind of wait and see right now. Yeah. A lot of teams are waiting to figure out what happens here in the next couple weeks, but. I'm obviously just want another chance, want another opportunity to keep going, and I loved like my family and myself. We love our time in Winnipeg. We'd be happy to go back. Like it's beneficial to me that have an American League team and an NHL team in the same city. You're not flying around if you get called up.
I never thought of
down.
that.
Yeah, you just basically change hallways, right? Just cross the hallway, change the rooms. Just bring your gear across, and that's it. Which is super nice. I don't have to leave my wife and kid and dog. I just literally just go home every night no matter what, which is awesome. But obviously wherever an opportunity comes, and I'm going to take it and try to make the best of it. And whenever that is, like whenever this next season starts, I'm not sure and how it's going to look, but you just got to be ready for it.
It's interesting how as soon as you have the wife and the kid, things kind of change. You have to be a little bit less selfish of the location that you go to,
right?
Because you have to think of the people at home.
For sure, she's looking for sun.
Yeah, she's like, let's go back to Florida or Anaheim. Let's just go.
Yeah. Geez, I've been spoiled. I played in Texas for a couple of years, Florida, Anaheim for a couple of years. It's I went to Montreal. It was a culture shock again back in the winter. No, but honestly, Winnipeg's it's just so cold. Like it's -30, like average in the winter. Ton of snow, but it's sunny every day, which is
sunny and cold.
It's sunny, but
Yeah.
you know it's going to be cold, so you dress for it. And then it's sunny, which is it brightens your day. It's different than waking up and it's dark and gloomy, and you're like, oh man, like this this sucks, whatever. It's sunny every day, so it's it's hard to complain.
Yeah.
You know it's going to be cold. Put your jacket on, go to the rink, whatever. Right, sit in the hot tub. It's fine. Like you can't complain if that's the worst problem in your life.
We had Adam Lowry on the podcast, and I'm pretty sure he said the exact same things. Like, it's cold, but it's always nice out.
It is, yeah. It
said
really
the exact same thing.
Yeah. And then we were there in July. We golfed every day. It was awesome. It was super nice. Yeah, it was a different side of Winnipeg for sure than what you see in a hockey season. But it was cool to see. It was nice.
What's the room like in Winnipeg right now? It seems like you got a good group of characters right there. When we had Lowry on, he said it was a great group. Wheeler,
he's awesome too. He's a big part of that room, Lowry. Obviously we have a bunch of leaders in there, but just for little things that he do and the way he plays, that's another example of what I'm talking about is finding his role. He can score goals. He can park he can park in front of the net and score goals. But he fought Reeves this year. Like, there's little things that's going to make him stand out, right? And if you fight Reeves, I don't care how tough you are, people are going to be scared of you.
You're okay in my
right?
books if you
Yeah,
can fight
exactly.
Reeves. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but just little things like that make him stand out. And I think for that organization in general, they have a great dressing room. I mean, I think they kind of did it the right way and went culture first rather than skill, and they kind of went the other way first. And I think it starts in the American League with their guys that they're bringing in and drafting, and the coaching staff that they have down there is awesome. And it really leads right up into the big club.
I wish Buff would come back. I loved watching him in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
he was so much fun to watch.
He was a wrecking ball out there.
Who do we have all this? I'm so bad with names, man. Who do we have on the podcast? We had someone on the podcast that played for Winnipeg. He lives in Halifax. He has a company here.
TJ Gagliardi.
So he was telling us, sorry TJ if you're listening. He was telling us a story about how Bufflin was out. He was out for like 2 months. And, he wasn't really active. He wasn't in the gym. He wasn't on the bike. He wasn't really doing much. And he came back in the room. He looked a little heavy. And the first game back, I think he said he played like 30 minutes. And he was out of shape, but somehow put up 3 assists.
Yeah, and probably killed a couple of guys.
And he's just like, TJ was like, I was in the best shape of my life. I was ready to go. And I only played like 15 minutes, and I played okay. And this guy comes in, and apparently he's just like a freak of nature. Yeah. Just can do whatever he wants out there. Did you end up playing with him at all, or he wasn't there?
No. So last year I was in the American League, and this year he didn't come back play this year. But I mean, the story. I've been around him just enough to see him that you don't want to get in his way, right? But some guys, that's what I mean. Like, guys just have to figure out how to play their role. And Buff plays 30 minutes, whether he's out of shape or not. He can still play 30 minutes. He knows what he has to do. And myself, I was playing 6 minutes one night. I'm going to be exhausted after those 6 minutes, right? It's just figuring out your way. And I think, Buff's he's a big boy, that's for sure. I mean, I remember a couple of those highlights in play. I think it was like 2 years ago, and when they have the whiteouts in Winnipeg and just watching that stuff on TV, I think it's like incredible. Yeah, it's nice to see him play again.
Same with him back in Chicago when they won the cups back there. He was a huge force. The forecheck, the big body. Oh man,
I think he was playing forward. Was he playing?
He
forward
was playing
then?
forward because I remember that playoffs. He was such a great forechecker. He would just lay defensemen out. He was scary.
Yeah.
He's a great player.
Yeah.
I hope he comes back too.
Yeah, big time.
How are the skates right now? Is it weird? Like, what are you working on? You don't know when the season's gonna start. Like,
it's different. It's you're kind of. It's tough to train sometimes when you're not sure like what you're training for, like as in timeline wise, right?
Yeah.
You're not sure. You don't want to be, right, like antsy to get back out there and, get back to work and go to training camp and kill it, right? It's like you kind of have to slow down and take your time, and it's a perfect time right now to work on the small parts, off the ice and on the ice. And like, so right now I'm skating with Jill and Daryl Plandowski. Which is awesome, just working on edges, getting some, little skills back into your game. You lose some skill through the season, right? You're trying to play systems and, do your job. But I think it's nice to be out there with them and kind of slow things down a little bit. Kind of get the feel back. I took about a month off the ice after the bubble and then right back at it. But, I'm back in the gym now as well with my trainer, which is, same thing. We're doing, 4 or 5 days a week. But
4 or 5 days a week. Wow.
Yeah, it's good. It's it's pretty normal, but it's nothing crazy right now. It's kind of at the point of let's wait and see when they announce that the season's going to start up, and we'll kind of work from then. But I feel healthy right now, which is great. It's kind of the best I've felt in a couple of years. So it's no injuries, knock on wood. But that's what it is. Have to look after your body.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you're happy. Seems like you're in a good place.
Yeah,
Father, you got the family, you got the house next to Marshy.
Yeah.
Things are good.
I guess we sold it, yeah.
Oh, you sold it, okay.
So someone else is his neighbor now, I guess.
Yeah, whatever. I'm sure he's not a good neighbor.
Yeah, right.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
What are you doing the rest of the day?
Appreciate it.
What are you doing? Cleaning up the yard? Or I
Just
guess
gotta
you're
go be a dad. Just
go
gotta
be a
go be a
dad.
dad. Yeah. Still trying to learn how to do it, but yeah, he's awesome, man. Honest to God, he's one of the best things that's ever happened.
How are you doing with the diapers? You're good?
I'd be lying if I said yeah. I'm number ones. Yeah, obviously it's it's easy peasy, but I'm not gonna lie. I put my face mask on.
No.
Yeah, I swear to God. Like I wouldn't say every time, but if there's babies have some ugly poops, they do. So those face masks come in handy.
Hey.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get a lot of brownie points, no pun intended, with the wife whenever you do it. You know what I mean?
I don't think she does enough she does enough for hers. She has her hands full for sure. I got dad duty today. I was in Cabot all weekend, so it's golf trip, so it's her turn.
You probably told her you're coming here after practice, and she's like, "Come on, are you serious? You gotta come do the baby."
Yeah,
Let's
she's
go.
knocking at the door, making sure I'm actually here.
Let's go. My girlfriend's calling me too. So
nice.
We'll end it here. All right, man. Thank you very much for
I
coming on.
appreciate it.
That was
Thank
a
you
great
very
one.
much.
Everyone listening, thank you very much for tuning in once again. Stay safe, have fun. Fall's here. Enjoy playoff hockey on tonight. We are out. Peace.